Okay, let's talk about where we're gonna head next with this guy. You can see in the video that I've attached, and lots of videos that we've seen, shorts and so on, that this guy is tracking pretty well now, right? So his head is doing a pretty good job at following. And we've seen the beginnings of tracking cost maps and so on with these motors. But let's be really honest with ourselves now, and we saw it in the last short, he's getting a little bit heavy. So he's at about 4.5 to like 5 kilograms. We've got some old 12 volt brush motors in here that came stock with these tracks. And it's just getting to the point where we're getting a little too ambitious. So it's time to start thinking about a proper rebuild. And while we're here thinking about a rebuild, why not like do loads of really ambitious stuff? Hence this 3D printer in its final kind of stages of calibration before we move on to proper like PLA plus and so on and so forth. So what we're going to do is we're going to get these planetary motors, which are pretty big, with encoders which allow us, you know, to track path and feedback for the motors and so on. And we're going to build them in here, but they're pretty wide. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to make this chassis a lot bigger, wider, stronger, so we can get these two in here. We're going to add a robo claw to X15A for handling these chunky guys. And again, like I said, they have encoders built into them, and this guy can read those encoder positions and feed it back to this Jetson Nano at the back here. We're obviously using a lot of chunky power with these guys, so we also have a 12 volt battery pack that's coming in here, and I'm going to splice in a blade fuse, because with these guys, if we end up kind of miscalculating his autonomy, or just miscalculating things in general, even with the kind of software current limiting and so on that we can use with the RoboClaw, which hasn't arrived in the post yet, things can still go wrong. The stall current for these guys can go all the way up, you know, between like 16 amp to like 20 amp, you know, in extreme cases. I don't think in our case, but just in case, we're going to splice in, I'm going to solder in a blade fuse into this battery pack, and rebuild this guy. And while we're here, we might as well add these really cool switches. So we're going to add diodes to those as well. And then we've got some 14 gauge wire to make all of this happen. On top of that, I'm also just going to rebuild this whole thing. We might as well while we're here, right? While we're thinking about the redesign, it's going to be hard and it's going to be long, but it's going to be super fun. And I'm looking forward to kind of showing you guys the videos of it. So now we have a 3D printer in tow. I'm going to rebuild this torso, and we're going to bring in some dual shaft digital servos, kind of like these guys. These guys are 12 volt dual shaft. These guys are 5. I'm going to bring in some 7.4 volt dual shaft servos, and we're going to 3D print all of this torso and make sure that it's nice and sturdy, and that we have nice and smooth movement with kind of built-in PID support built in with these actual kind of digital servos, right? I'm super excited about that. I'm super excited about showing you that progress as we go too. So 3D printing down here, we're going to do a bunch of 3D printing here, and then we'll mount this microphone better into a kind of custom built situation. So lots and lots and lots to do. While we're here, I'm actually just doing one final demo roll run, just testing out what I can do with supports and so on before we move on to a different filament. We're going to switch to this. Give me 1 second. We're going to switch to this parallel gripper with Lee Robot. And maybe even these can be parallel grippers for this guy too. So this guy is going to have a much more nuanced parallel gripper. I'm just doing one last test with the demo roll for support and so on, as you can see here with Orca Slicer. And I'll link the repo for what I'm using. So it's Pollen Robotics. They have these STLs available And I'm just doing really kind of generic settings right now for support with kind of tree slim and so on, just testing what I can do before I actually move on to a better material, before I switch to a new filament. So going back again here, we're going to use this guy, and then we're going to add that onto this guy for more nuanced grips. And this guy is running through this guy. So we're going to have wireless support, so he's going to be able to wirelessly control this guy. And then we're going to switch to the similar kind of servos. So we'll be able to use things like reinforcement learning and so on. More progress for hill sill and imitation learning shortly in other videos. Yeah, so that's where we're at. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to start a whole time-lapse series as well, so you guys can see all these robot parts printing as they go with the better material. I got a bunch of rolls available to me. Oh, and I just got this new smart charger as well. There's so much to play with from Robot Shop. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions in terms of what I'm doing, or any suggestions, or any things that I can adapt, or you think I'm doing something a bit stupid. Let's talk about where we're heading, because it's going to be a nice long process also. Just making sure he tracks me. Hope to see you all soon. Hopefully there's some cool robot part videos coming out soon. And enjoy the World Cup and have a good day.